The value of fraudulent insurance claims uncovered by insurers rose to a record $1.3 billion in 2013, up 18% on the previous year, according to figures released in May by the Association of British Insurers. It found insurers detected the equivalent of 2,279 bogus or exaggerated insurance claims per week, with fraudulent motor insurance claims the most expensive. Since 2007, the value of dishonest general insurance claims detected has more than doubled, so it seems that the initiatives to tackle insurance fraud are yielding results. But can more be done, or will fraudsters always find a way to best the system? With this in mind today, as part of Post-Digital Claims Issue, I'm delighted to say I'm joined in the studio by Aidan Kerr of the ABI to talk about insurance fraud and what insurers are doing to tackle it. Welcome to the studio, Aidan.
Thank you.
The ABI figures show the number of fraudulent motor insurance claims detected has risen, while property insurance frauds fell. Are insurers just becoming more efficient at detecting fraud in motor, or are we seeing a rise in the number of fraudulent cases overall?
Well, that's always a difficult question to answer. I mean, certainly, as you said, since 2007, we've seen more than double the value of detected frauds, which equates to around 30% in the number of claims detected since 2007. And that comes from the industry's commitment to tackling and detecting fraud. They've invested some £200 million per year in doing this. So it's difficult to know if they're just getting better at detecting fraud or if indeed there is an underlying increase in motor frauds. But having said that, the industry's risk assessment techniques do show that motor remains the highest risk area, with things like organised fraud, organised crash for cash schemes still on the increase. And that's why the industry continues to focus on it, and it's why the industry has continued to show its faith in organisations like IFED by providing further funding to them for the next 3 years.
Based on the funding rate for the years 2011 to 2013, the figures showed that the funding for IFED, the Insurance Fraud Enforcement Department, shelled out more than £105,000 for every prosecution it's led, with 85 prosecutions since 2011. Do you think that the industry would like to see more of these crimes leading to successful prosecution, and should there be stricter sentencing in courts?
Well, it's worth adding that in addition to those 85 convictions, there have been over 150 cautions for people who've been found to have committed fraudulent activity. Right. But of course, there's more that can be done. The industry does always look for value for money for the investment it makes in the Insurance Fraud Enforcement Division. But it also recognises that when you're investigating the organised fraud rings like cash for crash, ghost broking sites, those kind of things, it takes time. And IFED provides a level of resource that simply wasn't there before. But for IFED, it's not just about the convictions that they find, the prosecutions that they make, it's about increasing awareness. And they've played a key role in BBC's Claimed and Shamed show, which is currently airing its 3rd series. But also running days of action every quarter just keeps the profile of fraud as high as possible in both regional and national media, because it's as much about raising awareness of the realities of fraud as anything else. And certainly the industry does welcome the move towards more stringent sentencing for fraudsters, and that's a trend that we are certainly seeing, and it can all help in ensuring there's as much deterrent for fraudsters as possible.
Within the ABI figures, you also revealed that calls from the public reporting suspect insurance frauds into the Insurance Fraud Bureau's cheat line rose by 32% last year. Do you think the message is getting to the public that this isn't a victimless crime, and is there more the industry can do to push that message?
Well, the 32% increase in calls to the cheat line does show that the message is hitting home, that policyholders understand that the cost of fraud is felt by honest policyholders across the country in the premiums they pay. So it's good to see that the message is hitting home with all policyholders. But it's not something that the industry is going to be complacent about, because we know this is a longer term game. This is something that we have to keep pressing hard to make sure people understand the impact of fraud, and to make sure people continue to report fraud if they suspect it, because ultimately it is felt by policyholders across the country.
We've recently seen the Ministry of Justice revealing that it's actually going to enshrine in law the ability to strike out a fraudulent insurance claim in entirety if they can prove that there's fundamental dishonesty in the claim. What impact do you actually think that's going to have on insurance fraud figures in the future?
Well, we strongly welcome the Ministry of Justice announcement. It will really help to tackle fraud and provide further deterrence. The ability to strike out an entire claim if part of it is found to be fraudulent is a massive step forward and will serve as a deterrent. Because in too many cases, people might think there's nothing to lose from exaggerating their claim, whereas now it might make people think twice about doing that. So it will increase our ability to detect fraud, and it will hopefully change people's mindsets if they're otherwise thinking about carrying out fraud. But things like stronger sentencing, the IFED's work, the ABI's work, IFB's work, it's all part of a long-term process where we have to change people's mindsets about their perceptions to fraud. And part of this comes down to their understanding of insurance. You know, insurance is something that you buy to get peace of mind. It's not something that you feel you need to get a return on just because of the premiums you paid. And so there's something for the industry, for everyone in the industry to do to make sure people's awareness of what insurance is for is as high as possible, just so they don't see fraud as a way of getting a return on their investment.
Unfortunately, that's all we have time for. Thank you, Aidan, for shedding some light on those issues. This is part of Post Digital Claims Edition. For more, check out Post online, in print and the digital iPad edition. Also, don't forget to check out white papers and associated content on the Post Intelligence app and on Post Insurance Hound. That's all from me for now. Goodbye.